6:15. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Ahrens, absent. Kammer? Here. Carbonaro?
Here.
Daney?
Yes, here.
Hopkins?
Here.
Rinky?
Here.
President Wallace.
Here. First agenda item this evening and only agenda item is under Finance and Golf Committee. Chairman Daney.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, we have the 2016-17 six-month budget review. And again, I'm going to ask staff if they would take it from here.
Thank you, Trustee Daney. As we do every time this year, we look at how we've been doing for the first 6 months, and I'd ask Todd to go through a PowerPoint that illustrates that.
So just so everybody knows, this is just a 6-month review.
Correct.
With all those golfers coming in at the beginning of the year, it could be even better than this.
Yes, thank you. This is a 6-month review, and it's only over our operating funds. So it doesn't include capital projects and some other things going forward. And our biggest operating fund is the general fund. First of all, just as far as the column headers, the first column on the left is our annual budget. Then we have our October numbers, the year-to-date, the percent of the budget that we used, and then we project that out based on 5 years previous history of what the percent usually is, plus some other things if we know some other factors contribute. And then the under-over budget is our last column that we'll be looking at a lot. So in the general fund, our total revenues are projected to be $21,700,000. That's figuring to be about $148,000 under budget. And the main reason there is our state shared income taxes are not as high. And just last week, I think we sent a thing out that we were projecting them as being $143,000 under budget. The Illinois Municipal League recently revised their numbers due to some issues with the state, some other things, and they revised those numbers down. So they're projecting instead of 143 short, we're going to be over 360,000 short. They reduced it by about 220,000 for us. So that came out after this board packet went out. So keep that in mind as we move forward.
And in looking at that, let me just interrupt. We did get that information. I think I passed it along to the board that they're telling us it's due to a new accounting system in the state. They are anticipating that it will be fixed in 2018, and I asked Todd if he thought that they would true up and give us some money that we had missed, and there was no guarantee of that, if I recall. So what we are doing is watching everything far more closely than we did before. We always come in under budget, but that hanging over our head, we're looking ever more carefully at what we do to make sure we can still do that, and I'm confident that we will.
Yeah, and on the expense side then, the one department that is over budget, you'll see that it's the building department, and that's due to extra plan review fees, $55,000. They're over budget in plan review fees, which is listed as one of our incomes that was also higher. So that's made up on the income side, even though the department expense side is over. And then the streets department is under budget by $100,000 with their tree program, and then $30,000 due to utilities. I'm not ready to call being under budget on snow plowing yet, since the first day of winter is tomorrow. So I think we've had enough winter, though. So we budgeted to use surplus funds of $268,000. Our first estimate was $102,000 using the surplus funds, but it looks like we're going to be closer to the original $268 after the revised IML. Moving on to the water fund. Water fund revenue is based on water consumption. Consumption is about 3% under what we were looking at, so that's why we're having a shortfall in the operating revenues. Operating expenses is also under. The main reason why we're under is for the maintenance of some wells. There's for the radium removal. They every year or so they have to replace the media, and that doesn't look like it's going to need to be done this year. So we're doing a little better than budgeted at 52,000 using surplus as far as the operating for the water fund. Sewer fund is similar. If the water use sewer rates are revenue is based on the water consumption, so under as well. The main reason for the savings in the sewer fund is more energy efficient pumps that they've been installing recently, and about breaking even there in the sewer fund. Parking fund is pretty consistent. The reason for being under a little bit is less building and grounds maintenance improvements that we didn't spend. Golf fund's a little more complicated. We have the golf course, the restaurant, banquet, midway. As far as revenues, we're under what we were projected in rounds, and in the banquet, we're about even on the restaurant, midway. They're making up for that on the expense side. We had budgeted to clear our expenses by about $25,000. It looks like we're going to be under by about $20,000 due to some of the results so far. That's it. Quick over on the 6 month.
Thanks, Todd. Do you, I think I know the answer to this, but are we doing some stress tests based on the unpredictability of the state funds? Like any type of stress test, like where we would first cut, what things are going on. I know we're in the midst of budgeting right now, but I think it'd be wise to make sure we're doing extra stress tests because of the unpredictability of the state funds.
Doing that right now, because that is for this fiscal year. So as the department heads, and we talked about it, and staff today have come in, I've asked them to figure out if that happens in its entirety, how we will save that money. And every department will be submitting some ideas to get to that point.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Any other questions for Treasurer for the 6 month review? All right.
We have nothing else, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairman Daney. Now I will be adjourning the Committee of the Whole meeting and entering into an executive session to discuss personnel pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act. That I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the Committee of the Whole meeting.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Kammerer. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kammerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins? Yes. Ranky?
Yes.
Committee of the Whole is adjourned. We'll move